Hi, my name is Ryan Hedrick. I'm director and producer of Restoring Balance Autism Recovery, and we'd like you to know that autism is actually a medical condition with behavioral symptoms. So right now in the United States, autism is an epidemic problem. And if we don't take steps to solve this, over the next few years, we're going to see the rate be 1 in every 2 children by the year 2025. So we have to take serious effort to figure out what's going on with this epidemic and why is it happening. Behavioral services aren't going to be enough to put a Band-Aid over this massive wound. Being a behaviorist for over a decade, in the middle of all this, I met one of the little boys who changed my perspective on what autism is. His name was Theodore, and his mother was just this shining light that changed my world, because she showed me that autism is a medical condition with behavioral symptoms. And they started treating Theodore medically, which was different than a lot of the clients that I've ever seen. And we started to see all these gaps, these huge jumps in behavior and eye contact and social connection. And I asked her, what's going on? And she said, oh, we changed his diet, we added these supplements, and it wasn't something I had heard of before. So I investigated this for myself and found that there were thousands of families that were recovering other children from autism. They were losing their diagnosis. The reason I'm so passionate about this side of autism is that I've seen so many families suffer without getting that information, and when I see the difference behaviorally in these other children that were treated medically, they're living more independent lives, and the families are living more independent lives. So I think this is the real goal of what autism treatment should be. I actually got kind of disheartened being in this field and thought maybe it's not for me, because constantly you would see all this heartache and you'd fight these uphill battles of making these little gains, 2 steps forward but sometimes 3 steps back. Making this film is so important because it's going to act as an entertainment and educational beacon of hope for these other families that really need this, because these doctors are expensive and the process is difficult. So it's all wrapped up in a nice box for them. The impact I've seen on families is just remarkable, because the independence factor that the children get to gain is, you can't put a price tag on that. Saying I love you for the first time, or saying it back, and having any words at all, from some being totally nonverbal. But there were several children who went from totally nonverbal to regaining all their words, right? So this is priceless. And some who got their driver's license, who got jobs, who now have their own condos and boyfriends and girlfriends, and this is the type of life that we envision for our children. Autism recovery has a cornerstone of what they call biomedical intervention. And that means taking a look at biomarkers in the body, blood levels, urine, stool analysis, and checking to see what's off balance, or sometimes these kids have too much of something as well. That's a problem. So once they balance this out, they give them appropriate supplements and they figure out what foods they're allergic to. And that's sort of the cornerstone, because once you calm the child down, then they can be present to focus on behavioral therapies or other strategies that families might be incorporating. So many children have improved eye contact. They go from nonverbal to verbal, or just maybe if they have words, they expand on that, more words per sentence. What we can really expect from this is that these behavioral and social changes sometimes happen dramatically at first, but for other children it takes time, and they may not see those changes till a year down the road. But nonetheless, they sort of reestablish connectivity in the present moment, which is sort of what the definition of autism is that people aren't present with us. They're sort of in their own mind, in their own reality. And so these biomedical interventions bring them back to the present, and then the other therapies can be more effective. One of the mothers put it best by mentioning that with stroke victims, we don't try to give them speech therapy in the back of an ambulance. we wait several months till they're medically stabilized, and then they'll start speech or occupational therapy. So it goes the same for children on the spectrum, where if they have a medical condition that's causing these behavioral symptoms, we can erase some of the, or pull in some of these behavioral conditions, and then they're able to be more present for speech and other therapies. And I think this makes the most sense, because if we're going to invest dollars in behavioral therapy, it will take less time and be more effective when the children can be present. Recovery is a gradual process, and it doesn't look the same for everyone. And when we say autism recovered, we don't mean just like the kid down the street. It doesn't have to mean that. It means gradual increases in functionality and ability so that they have more opportunities in life. It doesn't just get erased. If these kids could have all the medical conditions just taken away with the puff of a wand, they still wouldn't be normal, because they have this arrested development of missing all these other developmental milestones that they haven't got because they weren't present back when they were 1 or 2 or 3. Biomedical treatment should be a cornerstone of autism recovery, because none of the other treatments have the ability to work while all these medical issues are going on in the background. Seizures, gastrointestinal issues, other comorbid neurological symptoms. We have to get a handle on this, and the only way to do it is by treating their medical conditions first. We're not trying to replace behavioral therapy or occupational therapy, speech therapy. These are all important cornerstones of autism recovery. But in order for these to be effective, the children need to be present with those educators, with those teachers, so that they can learn the lessons faster and move forward to the opportunities that they deserve. Right now in the United States, autism is an epidemic. And if you don't think that it's going to affect your son or daughter, by the year 2025, it's estimated that 1 out of every 2 children will have autism. What will we do? Who will take care of these children when half of the population becomes autistic? We have to do something today to make these changes a reality for tomorrow. It's growing at an exponential rate, and exponential means straight up on the graph. There's no plateau in sight. If we don't do anything today, tomorrow, it'll be out of reach. This is a scary situation, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We have control over this. We can change this, and we can affect these numbers going the other direction. Parents and doctors have already done this with thousands of families, getting their lives back, getting their children back, where these children now have jobs, these children are mainstreamed in school, these children can say, "I love you," when they used to not be able to. We can deal with this problem, but we have to do it together. Right now, all these families, they're not aware that biomedical treatment is a reality. And with our project, Restoring Balance Autism Recovery, it will be the shining light that these families need to start with this process. And our screenings are just the beginning, because the online network and the family that will be created with this film will continue to help other doctors and families for years to come. There are many ways you can help. You can check out our website, restoringbalanceautism.com. On there's videos, updates from the practitioners, doctors, other families, and a blog that keeps you up to date on what's happening with the film. Right now we're taking donations on our website. Another way you can get involved, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and there's updates all the time from families, recipes. You will find that these families have been there and done that, and they're the perfect resource. By connecting with our social media, you'll also find our screenings, connecting with our local events, and when we're coming to a city near you. So please, find it in your heart to make a donation today. You will be helping these families directly access new strategies that will lead to hope and opportunity for their children. You can be part of the solution. Thank you.